Admiral Korath of the Vorthak Empire stood on the bridge of his massive flagship Dominion, watching the blue planet Earth grow larger on his main viewing screen. Behind him stretched the most powerful war fleet the Empire had ever assembled, 200 warships carrying enough destructive power to turn a dozen worlds into lifeless rocks. He had come to teach the upstart humans their proper place in the galactic order. "Admiral," his tactical officer reported with confidence, "sensors detect only 12 human vessels moving to intercept our fleet. They appear to be maintaining defensive positions around the third planet." Korath's scaled lips curled into a cruel smile. 12 ships against 200? The humans were even more foolish than he had believed possible. "Signal the entire fleet. Attack formation Alpha. We will crush these primitives quickly and then move on to occupying their pathetic little world." Fleet Admiral Chang Min stood on the bridge of the human flagship Retribution, calmly studying the approaching alien armada through his tactical displays. At 45 years old, he had spent his entire adult life preparing for this exact moment. Unlike the fancy decorated bridges of alien warships, his command center was plain and functional, designed for fighting wars rather than impressing visitors. "Admiral," Captain Ji-hoon reported from the rebuilt Defiance, "Vorthak fleet will reach weapons range in 2 hours. All human vessels report ready for combat operations." Changmin nodded grimly. The human fleet was outnumbered 17-1, but those simple numbers did not tell the complete story. Each human ship had been designed with a single deadly purpose: to survive and fight in conditions that would destroy any other vessel in the known galaxy. "Signal all ships," Changmin ordered quietly. "Execute Plan Omega. Show these aliens what humans do when someone threatens our home." The Second Battle of Sol began unlike any space battle in recorded galactic history. Instead of the traditional straight-line formations used by civilized species, the human fleet scattered across three-dimensional space like seeds in the wind. Each ship operated independently according to battle plans that had been practiced and refined for decades. The Vorthak fleet opened fire at maximum range, filling the dark space between planets with energy beams and missile volleys that should have vaporized the smaller human force in minutes. But the human ships did not fight like anything in the Empire's military databases. When overwhelmed by superior firepower, they did not retreat to safer distances. Instead, they charged directly into the alien formation like wild animals attacking a hunter. Lieutenant Yejin commanded the weapon systems aboard the heavy cruiser Vengeance. As enemy fire overwhelmed her ship's protective shields, she calmly activated humanity's most controversial weapon system: kinetic bombardment cannons that could accelerate chunks of metal to nearly the speed of light. "Target the enemy flagship," she told her gunner with ice-cold determination. "Maximum velocity impact." The Vorthak Dominion was protected by the finest energy shields the Empire could build, armor plating that could stop any known weapon in the galactic arsenal. But no defense system had ever been designed to stop a metallic asteroid traveling at 90% of light speed. The improvised projectile punched through the alien flagship's defenses like they were made of paper, crippling the massive vessel with a single devastating shot. Admiral Korath found himself on a bridge filled with smoke and electrical fires, his mighty flagship reduced to a drifting wreck by a weapon that was basically just a very fast rock. "Impossible," he whispered through his breathing mask. No civilized species fights with such primitive brutality. Chief Medical Officer Guy Young aboard the Defiance had spent 20 years studying every alien species known to humanity. As the battle raged in the space around her, she activated systems that had never been tested in real combat but had been designed for exactly this terrifying situation: broadcasting detailed biological analysis data to all human ships, she announced calmly, transmitting complete Vorthak physiological weakness profiles on all communication frequencies. Every alien commander in the battle zone suddenly heard detailed information about their species, biological vulnerabilities broadcast in their own languages, heart rates that indicated panic and fear, atmospheric requirements that could be exploited as weapons, psychological profiles that revealed exactly how their minds worked under extreme stress. The mental impact was more devastating than any physical weapon. The Vorthak had always considered themselves the galaxy's supreme warriors, but the humans knew them better than they knew themselves. Every secret, every weakness, every biological limitation had been carefully studied and turned into a weapon. Captain Hyunwoo watched the battle from his position at the edge of the combat zone. His heart's heavy with the terrible knowledge of what he had to do. His empire was not just losing the battle, they were being completely destroyed by an enemy that understood them too well. The humans fought with a deadly combination of advanced technology and primitive savagery that no civilized species could hope to match. "Captain," his communication officer called out urgently, "Admiral Korath is ordering all remaining ships to target the human homeworld directly. He wants to bombard Earth's surface cities." That was the moment when Captain Hyunwoo's loyalty to his empire finally shattered completely. In 30 years of faithful military service, he had never disobeyed a direct order from a superior officer. But the thought of his fleet destroying a world filled with billions of innocent human civilians was more than his conscience could bear. "Open a communication channel to all Vorthak vessels in the fleet," he commanded his crew. "Sir?" his confused officer asked. "All vessels?" "Every single ship. Right now." When the channel opened, Captain Hyunwoo broadcast the hardest words he had ever been forced to speak. "All Vorthak ships, this is Captain Hyunwoo of the Silent Watcher. I am ordering you to power down your weapons and withdraw immediately. Complete tactical analysis indicates that victory is impossible. Continued fighting will result in the total destruction of the entire Third Fleet." The effect throughout the Vorthak formation was immediate and dramatic. Ship commanders who had served under Hyunwoo for decades began shutting down their weapon systems. His reputation as a careful, intelligent officer carried more weight than Admiral Korath's increasingly desperate orders. "Hyunwoo," Admiral Korath's voice screamed across all communication channels. "You dare commit treason against the Empire?" "I serve the Empire's best long-term interest," Hyunwoo replied with calm dignity. "Sacrificing the Third Fleet in an unwinnable battle serves no one except human propaganda ministers." "Fleet." Admiral Changmin watched the Vorthak fleet's weapons powered down across his tactical displays and felt a mixture of relief and genuine sadness. The humans could have won the battle through sheer determination and superior tactics, but the cost in lives on both sides would have been enormous. Better to accept victory through wisdom rather than bloodshed. "Signal the Vorthak fleet," Changmin ordered his communication officer. "Offer safe passage to the edge of our solar system. Any ship that reactivates weapons will be destroyed without warning, but we will not fire on vessels withdrawing peacefully." As the alien fleet slowly limped away from Earth's vicinity, humanity's victory sent shockwaves throughout every corner of the galaxy. The most powerful military force in Council space had been defeated by 12 human ships. More importantly, the humans had demonstrated strategic thinking that went far beyond simple military tactics. Ambassador Hyrene stood before an emergency session of the Galactic Council, her expression calm and confident despite the chaos and fear surrounding her. The great chamber was half empty now. Several species had withdrawn their representatives when news of the Vorthak defeat reached their homeworlds. "Honored delegates," she began in a voice that carried easily through the vast space, "Earth offers the galaxy a simple choice that should be easy to understand. We can coexist as equals, respecting each other's independence and sovereignty, or we can continue down this path of pointless conflict, which benefits absolutely no one." Council Speaker Zixthara's crystalline form flickered with uncertainty and fear. What guarantees can humanity offer that it will not use its obvious military superiority to conquer and enslave other species? "The same guarantee that every species in this chamber offers," Hayrin replied simply. "Our word of honor backed by our consistent actions. Earth seeks trade, knowledge, and peaceful coexistence with all species. We will defend ourselves when attacked, but we have no interest in ruling others." Dr. Mi Kyung appeared on the chamber's main display screen, transmitting from her laboratory deep beneath the mountains of Earth. "The galaxy is much larger than any of us previously imagined," she announced to the assembled representatives. "Our deep space exploration probes have detected clear evidence of advanced civilizations far beyond the borders of Council space. Some of them make the Kethamar Rebellion look like peaceful merchants. Humanity offers to share this intelligence freely and to work together in exploring these dangerous new frontiers." The implications were staggering for every species present. If Dr. Mi Kyung was telling the truth, then the known galaxy was just a tiny corner of a much larger universe filled with unknown powers and unimaginable threats. The Great Assembly Hall of the Galactic Council had never seen chaos like this before. Representatives from 12 different species argued, shouted, and waved their various arms and tentacles as they tried to understand what had happened in the Sol system. The humans, who had been dismissed as primitive cave dwellers for over a century, had suddenly revealed themselves as a major military power. The carefully balanced peace of the galaxy was falling apart. Ambassador Rin sat calmly in the middle of all this noise and confusion. She was Earth's first official representative to galactic civilization, a small woman in a simple black uniform who seemed completely unimpressed by the alien diplomats arguing around her. At her side sat Colonel Wu Jin, whose presence made several species visibly nervous, and Dr. So Young, a language expert who could speak 17 different alien tongues. Council Speaker Zix Thera of the crystal-like Nixari called for order with a sound like wind chimes being shaken in a storm. The elegant alien's see-through body glowed with anger as she addressed the human delegation. Ambassador Rin, Zix Thera said, her voice making musical tones that the translation devices turned into words. Humanity's actions in the Sol system have destroyed the peace we have kept for 3,000 years. The Council demands an explanation for your species' lies and aggression. Rin stood slowly, her movements calm and confident. When she spoke, her voice carried clearly through the enormous chamber without needing any electronic help. Honored Speaker, she replied politely, Earth has committed no acts of aggression. We defended our home system against invasion by the Kethmar Rebellion. If defending our homes makes us aggressive, then perhaps the Council needs to think again about what aggression really means. The Vorthak delegation erupted in angry hisses and growls. General Thakmor, their military representative, rose to his full 3-meter height and pointed a clawed finger at the human ambassador. Lies and deception, he roared. Your species has been preparing for war while pretending to be primitives. You have broken the non-interference treaty by hiding your true abilities. Colonel Wu Jin shifted slightly in his seat, a small movement that made every alien in the chamber suddenly remember that humans had brought a soldier to a diplomatic meeting. His hand rested casually on a weapon that Council sensors could not identify or understand. General Thakmor, Rin said calmly, Earth never signed your non-interference treaty. You cannot break an agreement you were never asked to join. As for deception, we simply chose not to announce ourselves until we were ready. That is called being smart, not being deceptive. Dr. So Young leaned forward and spoke in perfect Vorthak language. Perhaps the general would have preferred that we remained helpless? The Kethmar fleet would have destroyed your Council supply station and probably bombed our planet for fun. Would that have been more acceptable to you? The Vorthak general's scales turned dark red with anger at being spoken to by a human in his own language. But he could not argue with her logic. Council Speaker Zix Thera tried to regain control of the situation. Regardless of past events, humanity must now submit to standard integration protocols. All new species must share their technology with the Council, accept limits on their military forces, and submit to cultural guidance from more advanced civilizations. This is how we maintain galactic peace. The chamber became completely silent as every eye, tentacle, and sensor focused on Ambassador Rin. Her response would determine whether humanity joined the galactic community as an equal partner or became another conquered species under Council control. Rin smiled, and somehow that simple human expression was more frightening than Colonel Wu Jin's mysterious weapons. Thank you for explaining your position, honored speaker. Earth's response is simple and final. We respectfully decline your offer. The chamber exploded into chaos again. No species had ever refused Council integration protocols in the entire recorded history of galactic civilization. The very idea was unthinkable. You cannot refuse, shouted the energy being representative of the Luminari, its glowing form flickering with agitation. The protocols exist to prevent chaos. To maintain order. Your protocols, Dr. So Young replied in perfect luminary speech, are designed to maintain your control over other species. Earth will not accept slavery disguised as guidance. General Byung-ho's image appeared on the chamber's main viewing screen, transmitted from Earth's military command center. The Korean general's uniform was simple and practical, completely unlike the fancy ceremonial outfits worn by the alien military officers present. Ladies, gentlemen, and beings of various types, Byung-ho said calmly, let me make humanity's position perfectly clear. We do not seek to conquer anyone. We do not wish to rule the galaxy. We simply refuse to be ruled by others. Earth will defend itself and protect its interests. How the rest of the galaxy chooses to respond to that fact is entirely up to you. The implications of his words sent chills through every alien delegation present. Humanity was not asking permission to join the galactic community. They were announcing their independence from it. Captain Hyunwoo watched the proceedings from his ship, now positioned openly near the council station instead of hiding. His 3 decades of loyal service to the Vorthak Empire were crumbling as he witnessed something that had never happened before in galactic history, a species that could not be intimidated, bribed, or controlled. Captain, his communication officer reported, the Empire's 3rd Fleet has received orders to move toward the Sol system. Admiral Korth believes a show of military force will bring the humans under control. Hyunwoo's blood ran cold. He had seen what one human ship could do to an entire Kethmar fleet. The thought of his own people attacking the Sol system filled him with terror for his fellow Vorthak. The council session continued for many hours, with various species trying to find ways to force human obedience. Economic sanctions, diplomatic isolation, military threats, every tool of galactic politics was discussed and rejected. Humanity had prepared for all of them. You see, Ambassador Hayrin explained patiently to the increasingly frustrated alien diplomats, Earth has been trading secretly with various species for decades. We have established business relationships that bypass council control completely. We have allies you don't know about. We have resources you've never found. Your economic sanctions would hurt you more than they would hurt us. The truth was even more disturbing than the ambassador's calm words suggested. Human intelligence agents had been active throughout council space for 30 years, gathering information, making secret contacts, and preparing for exactly this situation. Every major alien government had been infiltrated. Every military secret had been stolen and copied. Every weakness had been identified and catalogued for future use. Lieutenant Yejin of Earth's Intelligence Service monitored the council session from a hidden facility on the Nexari homeworld. Her reports to Earth Command painted a clear picture. The galaxy's major powers were completely divided on how to respond to humanity's emergence. Some wanted immediate military action. Others preferred economic pressure. A few even suggested accepting humanity as equals, though they were clearly in the minority. The session reached its most dangerous point when Admiral Korth of the Vorthak Empire made a formal declaration of military action against the Sol system. The humans will learn that defying the Council has serious consequences, he announced to the assembled representatives. The 3rd Fleet will teach them the meaning of humility. Ambassador Hayrin's response was swift and terrifying in its quiet confidence. Admiral, I strongly suggest you reconsider that decision. Earth's defense fleet is not limited to the ships you have already observed. We have been preparing for this day for 50 years. Are you truly prepared for the casualties that a war with humanity will bring to your people? Her words carried an unspoken threat that made every alien present suddenly very nervous. The humans were not afraid of the galaxy's most powerful military force. If anything, they seemed to welcome the coming confrontation. As the council session ended in complete deadlock, long-range sensors throughout the galaxy detected the movement of massive fleets in multiple star systems. The Vorthak 3rd Fleet was indeed moving toward Earth, but human ships were also moving in directions, and numbers that suggested Earth's military preparations went far beyond what anyone had dared to imagine. Captain Hyunwoo found himself facing the most difficult choice of his entire life. His loyalty to the Empire demanded that he support Admiral Korth's attack on humanity. But his 3 decades of watching humans had taught him something his military superiors refused to understand. Earth's children were not making empty threats. The galaxy was about to discover what happened when an unstoppable force met an immovable object. And Captain Hyunwoo suspected that somehow humanity was both. The Battle of Sol's Edge became the most talked about military fight in galactic history. Every species in the Council wanted to understand how a single human ship had beaten a Kethmar fleet that should have destroyed it without breaking a sweat. The answer scared them. Humans fought wars in ways that civilized species had completely forgotten. Commander Ji-hoon stood on the bridge of the Defiance as damage reports came in from every part of his ship. The vessel looked like it had been through a meteor storm. Hull breaches covered 30% of the outer walls. 3 of the main gun turrets were completely gone. The life support systems were running on emergency power, and half his crew was working in spacesuits because whole sections had lost air. Give me the engineering report, Ji-hoon called out to his chief engineer. Sujin's tired voice came through the ship's communication system. Main engines are working at 60% power. Nuclear reactors are stable. Hull strength is, well, we're still in one piece, barely. Give me 12 hours and I can get us ready to fight again. Ji-hoon shook his head in amazement. Any other species would have declared the ship a total loss and abandoned it. But Sujin was already making plans to repair the damage and get the Defiance back into fighting condition. This was the human way. Never give up, never surrender. Always find a way to keep going. Captain Hyunwoo watched the damaged human ship limp toward Earth from his hidden position in space. His scaled hands shook as he tried to write his report for the Galactic Council. How could he explain what he had witnessed? The humans had used fighting methods that broke every rule of civilized warfare. When the Defiance's main weapons stopped working, they turned their gravity systems into weapons. When their protective shields failed, they kept fighting with just their armor. When enemy ships tried to board them, the humans had actually invited the attackers inside, then fought them hand-to-hand in the ship's corridors. Most shocking of all was what happened when the human ship's air supply was damaged. Instead of retreating to save their crew, the humans had simply put on spacesuits and kept fighting. Hyunwoo had watched human soldiers jump from their broken ship to enemy vessels, crossing the deadly vacuum of space with nothing but small jetpacks and hand weapons. The Kethmar had never seen anything like it. Their swarm attacks were designed to overwhelm enemies who fought using logic and reason. But humans seemed to get more dangerous the more damage they took. When retreat was the smart choice, they attacked. When surrender would save lives, they kept fighting anyway. Pilot Kyung-soo had become the hero of the battle's most incredible moment. When the Defiance ran out of regular missiles, he had manually fired chunks of asteroid rock at the enemy using the ship's cargo launchers. The makeshift weapons were crude but incredibly effective, smashing through alien armor like it was made of paper. How did you know that would work? Tactical Officer Yoonji had asked him during the fight. Kyung-soo had grinned inside his helmet. I didn't know, but we had to try something. And humans are good at making weapons out of whatever is lying around. That attitude perfectly described humanity's approach to warfare. When normal tactics failed, try something abnormal. When abnormal tactics failed, try something impossible. When impossible tactics failed, try them again but with more force. On Earth, Dr. Mi-kyung studied detailed recordings of the entire battle from monitoring stations throughout the solar system. Her analysis confirmed what she had long suspected. Human military thinking was completely different from alien military thinking. Look at this part, she said to her assistant, pointing at battle footage on her computer screen. When the Kethmar damaged the Defiance's main systems, they expected the ship to pull back for repairs. Instead, the humans switched to backup systems and kept fighting. When the backup systems were hit, they switched to manual control. When manual control failed, they started making new weapons from spare parts. Her assistant watched in fascination as the recording showed human engineers actually welding new armor plates onto their ship while the battle was still happening around them. They were doing repairs while under enemy fire? More than repairs, Mi-kyung replied. They were improving their ship during combat. Every time the Kethmar learned to counter human tactics, the humans changed tactics faster. This isn't just military strategy. This is warfare that adapts and evolves in real time. News of humanity's victory spread through galactic intelligence networks at the speed of light. Every species wanted to understand how the quiet little planet Earth had suddenly produced warriors capable of defeating the dreaded Kethmar. The implications were terrifying for the established galactic order. Admiral Taemin received reports from monitoring stations throughout human space. Alien ships were gathering at the edges of the solar system, not to attack but to watch and learn. The galaxy's major powers wanted to see what other surprises humanity might have hidden away. Sir, his intelligence officer reported, we're detecting at least 40 alien vessels staying just outside our long-range sensors. They're from 7 different species. The Vorthak Empire has sent their entire Third Fleet to observe us. Admiral Taemin studied the tactical displays with quiet satisfaction. For 50 years, Earth had been preparing for the day when humanity would take its rightful place among the stars. They had built more than just one ship. The Defiance was only the beginning of something much larger. Send a message to all our hidden fleet commanders, Admiral Taemin ordered. Operation Emergence is now active. It's time to show the galaxy what Earth has really been building. Throughout the outer solar system, asteroids that had looked empty and lifeless for decades suddenly came alive. Hidden doors opened in what appeared to be solid rock, and massive human warships emerged from secret bases that had been invisible to alien sensors. The Retribution, the Vengeance, the Indomitable, and 9 other vessels that were even larger than the Defiance moved into defensive positions around Earth. Each ship was a fortress in space, armed with weapons that combined human engineering with 50 years of stolen alien technology. But more importantly, each vessel was crewed by humans who understood something the peaceful galaxy had forgotten over centuries of easy living. Sometimes the only way to keep peace was to be ready for war. Captain Hyun-woo's instruments detected the emerging human fleet, and his heart nearly stopped beating. The energy readings were incredible. Each human ship produced more power than a Council battleship. Their weapons were crude by galactic standards but devastatingly effective. Their armor was thick enough to stop anything in the known arsenal of civilized space. But what truly frightened him was the realization that humanity had been planning this moment for decades. While the galaxy dismissed them as primitives playing with rockets, the humans had been studying, learning, and building. They had turned their entire solar system into a military fortress, and they were ready for war on a scale that would terrify the peaceful Council species. The human fleet took positions throughout the Sol system, not hiding but openly displaying their strength for every alien observer to see and report. Each ship broadcast the same message on all galactic communication frequencies. This is Earth Defense Force. Our system is under our protection. Peaceful vessels are welcome to observe. Hostile vessels will be destroyed without warning. Commander Ji-hoon, now promoted to captain of the rebuilt Defiance, sent his own personal message directly to Captain Hyun-woo's supposedly hidden ship. Captain, you are welcome to stay and watch, but your stealth technology doesn't work as well as you think it does. We've been tracking your ship for 20 years. If you want to talk instead of hide, we're willing to listen. The galaxy would never be the same. In a single day, humanity had announced itself not as a primitive species begging for acceptance, but as a military power demanding respect. The quiet planet Earth had become the most dangerous world in known space, and every alien civilization would have to decide how to respond to humanity's dramatic entrance onto the galactic stage. The age of human hiding was over. The age of human expansion was about to begin, and the stars themselves seemed to tremble at what Earth's children might accomplish among them. Hive Commander Veltar clicked his sharp mandibles together as his war fleet moved through the cold darkness of space. The insect warrior was excited about the coming battle. His 63 ships were the finest the Kethmar rebellion could offer, and he was hungry to spill Council blood. His target was simple: a Council supply station orbiting the giant planet Jupiter in the Sol system. The facility stored weapons, fuel, and food for Council forces throughout this part of the galaxy. Destroying it would hurt the Council badly, and send a message that the Kethmar could strike anywhere they wanted. The best part was that this attack would happen near the primitive human world. The Council had been protecting these weak creatures for over a century, claiming they were not ready for contact with advanced civilizations. Veltar looked forward to showing the humans what real power looked like. Hive Commander, his tactical officer buzzed through their shared mental link. Sensors show one Council ship watching the human planet. Should we destroy it first? Veltar's compound eyes glowed with cruel amusement. Let it watch. When we finish with the supply station, that observer can carry news of our victory back to the Council. Fear spreads faster than ships. On his hidden observation vessel, Captain Hyun-woo was definitely feeling fear. His scaled hands moved quickly over his control systems, preparing to leave the area as fast as possible. Council protocol required him to withdraw when hostile forces entered a system. The primitive humans would witness their first space battle, and hopefully learn to stay out of galactic affairs. But as Hyun-woo prepared his ship for departure, something impossible happened. His communication system detected an incoming message. The transmission was coded in perfect galactic standard, the common language used by all Council species. This should not have been possible. Humans were supposed to be centuries away from learning this language even existed. Unknown Vorthak vessel, the message said in flawless alien speech. This is Dr. Mi-kyung of Earth. We have been monitoring your communications for 20 years. We know about the Kethmar fleet approaching our system. We know about the Council supply station near Jupiter. We wish to offer our assistance in defending it." Hyunwoo's cold blood turned to ice. The humans had been watching him? For 20 years? His ship was supposed to be completely invisible to their primitive technology. Yet somehow they had not only found him but learned to decode secret council communications. Deep in her underground facility, Dr. Mi-kyung smiled as she sent the message that would change galactic history. Her team had been preparing for this moment for decades. They had broken alien codes, stolen alien technology, and built monitoring systems that could track ships across the entire solar system. "Dr. Mi-kyung," her nervous assistant said, "are you sure we should reveal ourselves like this? The government protocols say to maintain secrecy until we receive official permission." Mi-kyung's eyes were hard with determination. The protocols were written by people who never imagined aliens would bring their war to our front door. "We are past the point of hiding now. In the hidden asteroid facility near Mars, Admiral Taemin received final authorization to launch the Defiance. The massive warship was not completely finished, but her weapons worked and her armor was thick. Commander Ji-hoon took his place on the bridge, surrounded by 800 volunteer crew members who knew they might never see Earth again. All stations report ready for launch. "Commander," Chief Engineer Soo-jin called from her position at the engine controls. "Fusion reactors are running at full power. All alien technology systems show green lights." Ji-hoon nodded grimly. Everyone aboard knew the Defiance was humanity's first attempt at building a real warship using stolen alien technology. They had no idea how well it would perform in actual combat against experienced alien warriors. But they were about to find out. "Take us out of here," Ji-hoon ordered. "Time to introduce Earth to the galaxy." The Defiance emerged from the asteroid construction facility like a hunting beast leaving its den. The ship was huge and threatening, covered with gun turrets and missile launchers. Where alien ships were smooth and beautiful, the human vessel looked exactly like what it was, a machine built for war. Its powerful engines pushed it toward the outer solar system at speeds no human ship had ever achieved before. Every system on board was designed with one goal: to fight and survive in conditions that would destroy any other vessel in known space. Captain Hyunwoo watched in shock as the human ship appeared on his sensors. This was not the primitive spacecraft he had expected from Earth. The energy readings were enormous, and the ship's design was unlike anything in Council military databases. Where had the humans gotten technology this advanced? As the Kethmar fleet approached Jupiter, they detected the human vessel moving to intercept them. Hive Commander Veltar studied the readings with interest. The ship was large and well-armed, but it was alone against his entire fleet of 63 warships. "Unknown vessel," Veltar transmitted on all frequencies. "You are interfering with Kethmar military operations. Leave this area immediately or you will be destroyed along with the Council cowards." Commander Ji-hoon's response was broadcast throughout the entire solar system. "This is Earth's Battleship Defiance. We are here to defend our system against hostile invasion. You are the ones who should leave while you still can." For the first time in galactic history, humans had announced themselves to the universe. The announcement came in the form of a direct military challenge to one of the most feared warrior races in known space. The battle began when a Kethmar scout ship fired a warning shot across the Defiance's path. The aliens expected the unknown vessel to retreat or surrender. Instead, Commander Ji-hoon's response was immediate and devastating. The human ship's main guns opened fire, and the Kethmar scouts simply disappeared in a ball of superheated plasma. There was no debris, no wreckage, no trace that the alien ship had ever existed. Hive Commander Veltar's mandibles stopped clicking. He had expected the primitive vessel to be destroyed easily by his superior numbers and technology. Instead, it had vaporized one of his ships with a single shot from weapons that should not exist. "All ships," he commanded through the mental link that connected every Kethmar warrior. "Attack formation. Destroy that vessel before it can fire again." What happened next was unlike any space battle in recorded galactic history. The Kethmar attacked using their traditional swarm tactics, surrounding their enemy and striking from all directions at once. It was a strategy that had won them victories across the galaxy. But the Defiance did not fight like a council ship. When enemy fire overwhelmed its energy shields, the human vessel kept fighting. When its outer armor was damaged, the crew simply sealed the breaches and continued shooting back. When Kethmar's ships tried to ram it, the massive human vessel rammed them back even harder. Chief Engineer Su Jin worked miracles in the engine room, keeping power flowing to weapons and life support, even as explosions shook the ship around her. "Hull breach on level 7, she shouted into her communicator. "Emergency team, seal those holes now." Pilot Kyung-soo discovered that human creativity could turn any ship system into a weapon. When the main guns overheated from constant firing, he used the ship's gravity control systems to create artificial black holes that tore through enemy formations. When the missile supply ran low, he fired chunks of metal debris at near light speed. The Kethmar had never faced an enemy that refused to follow the accepted rules of civilized warfare. When the Defiance was damaged beyond what any rational crew would consider survivable, it kept fighting. When retreat would have been the smart choice, the humans attacked even more aggressively. Tactical Officer Yoon-ji coordinated boarding parties that used the ship's damaged sections as launching points. Human soldiers in spacesuits jumped from hole to hole, crossing the deadly vacuum to attack enemy vessels from inside. The insect warriors found themselves fighting humans who treated the killing environment of space like just another battlefield. As the battle continued, Captain Hyunwoo realized that everything the Council believed about humanity was completely wrong. These were not peaceful primitives waiting for guidance from advanced civilizations. They were warriors who had been secretly preparing for galactic contact for decades, and they were far more dangerous than anyone had imagined. The turning point came when Commander Ji-hoon made a decision that shocked both sides. With his ship reduced to 30% effectiveness and surrounded by enemy vessels, he opened communication channels to the entire Kethmar fleet. "Hive Commander Veltar," Ji-hoon said with calm confidence, "you have fought well, but this battle is over. I offer you one chance to withdraw your forces before we deploy our final weapons." It was a complete bluff. The Defiance had used almost all of its ammunition and was barely holding together. But Ji-hoon delivered his ultimatum with such certainty that even his own crew believed humanity had secret weapons waiting to be unleashed. Veltar looked at his tactical displays and felt something he had never experienced before: doubt. He had lost 26 ships to a single human vessel. His remaining forces were damaged and his warriors were shaken. The unknown capabilities of this human ship made continuing the battle too dangerous to risk. Captain Hyunwoo floated in the darkness of space, watching the small blue planet turn slowly below his ship. Earth looked peaceful from this distance. White clouds moved across green lands and blue oceans. The humans down there had no idea that he was watching them from his invisible ship. For 20 years, Hyunwoo had been sending the same reports back to his leaders. The humans were not ready to meet other species from across the galaxy. They still fought wars with each other. Their rockets could barely reach their own moon. They knew nothing about the 12 different alien races that shared the stars around them. The Galactic Council had decided long ago that humans needed at least 500 more years before they could join the community of spacefaring peoples. Until then, Hyunwoo would watch and wait from his hidden ship called the Silent Watcher. The reptilian captain stretched his long neck and checked his instruments again. His ship was completely invisible to human technology. They could not see him or detect his presence in any way. He was like a ghost in space, observing their primitive world from the shadows. But far below on Earth, something was happening that would have shocked Captain Hyunwoo if he had known about it. Deep under the mountains of Korea, in a secret facility that no government officially admitted existed, Dr. Mi-kyung was working on a project that would change everything. Her underground laboratory was filled with strange pieces of metal, glowing crystals, and twisted chunks of materials that did not come from Earth. These were fragments of alien spacecraft that had crashed on Earth over the past 50 years. The world's governments had been secretly collecting these pieces and studying them in hidden facilities around the globe. Mi-kyung held up a small device that pulsed with soft blue light. The energy readings from this single piece were incredible. It produced more power than the biggest nuclear reactor on Earth, but it was no larger than her hand. Her team had been working day and night to understand how these alien machines worked. Slowly, piece by piece, they were learning secrets that the galaxy believed humans would not discover for centuries. They had figured out how to bend space itself, how to create unlimited energy from nothing, and how to make materials stronger than anything found in nature. The project was called Horizon Gate, and fewer than 50 people on Earth knew it existed. The world's governments had agreed that this knowledge was too dangerous to share publicly. If other nations learned about alien technology, it might start wars that could destroy the planet. Dr. Mi Kyung, her assistant, called out nervously. The energy readings are getting stronger. Should we shut down the test? Mi Kyung shook her head. Not yet. We need to understand how this works. If aliens ever come to Earth, we need to be ready for them. She had no way of knowing that aliens had already been watching Earth for decades, many millions of miles away, hidden inside a large asteroid that floated near Mars. Admiral Taemin was overseeing the construction of something that would have terrified the peaceful aliens who thought humans were primitive. The asteroid had been secretly hollowed out and turned into the largest construction facility humans had ever built. From the outside, it looked like any other space rock. Inside, hundreds of workers were building something incredible. They called it the Defiance, and it was designed to be the most powerful warship in known space. How much longer until she's ready? Admiral Taemin asked his chief engineer. 3 more months, Admiral. Kyung-ho replied, wiping grease from his hands. The Defiance will be unlike anything the galaxy has ever seen. The ship they were building was enormous, over 2 kilometers long. It was covered with thick armor that could survive direct hits from nuclear weapons. Its engines could push it faster than any human ship had ever traveled. Most importantly, it combined human engineering with stolen alien technology in ways that no other species had ever attempted. Admiral Taemin walked through the construction area, watching welders and engineers work on his dream. Other species in the galaxy built beautiful ships that looked like works of art. The human ship looked like exactly what it was, a weapon of war, where alien ships were smooth and elegant. The Defiance was covered in gun turrets, missile launchers, and armor plating. It was designed by human military minds that understood something the peaceful aliens had forgotten. Over centuries of easy living, sometimes you had to fight to survive. Sir, a communication officer suddenly called out. We're receiving strange signals from the outer part of our solar system. Admiral Taemin hurried to the communication center. On the screens he could see energy readings that made his blood turn cold. Dozens of large objects were moving through space toward the inner planets. They were not heading directly for Earth, but they were close enough to be very dangerous. The readings showed massive ships, much larger than anything humans had ever built. Their energy signatures were unlike anything in Earth's databases. These were not friendly visitors coming to say hello. Back on his hidden observation ship, Captain Hyunwoo was receiving the same alarming information. His instruments showed a huge fleet of warships approaching the Sol system. These were not ships from the Galactic Council. The energy patterns were different, more aggressive and threatening. His 2 hearts began beating faster as he recognized the design signatures in his computer. These were Kethmar vessels. The insect warriors were the most dangerous rebels in the galaxy. They hated the peaceful Galactic Council and had been attacking Council outposts and supply lines for years. Now they were bringing their war to the edge of human space. The humans would have a front row seat to watch an interstellar battle, never knowing that their entire planet might be destroyed if the fighting spread to include them. Hyunwoo quickly began recording everything his sensors could detect. The Kethmar fleet was enormous, with over 60 warships of different sizes. They were heading toward a Council supply station near the planet Jupiter. The humans would witness their first space battle between alien civilizations. On Earth, Dr. Mi Kyung's secret monitoring stations detected the approaching fleet. Her instruments had been watching space for decades, and she immediately knew this was not a peaceful visit. She activated emergency communication systems, sending coded messages to hidden facilities around the world. Within hours, Earth's secret leaders were meeting an emergency session. These were people who had spent their lives preparing for the day when humanity would have to face the wider galaxy. President Dong-hyun of the Korean Federation spoke for the hidden coalition that had been making plans for this moment. We have a choice to make. We can hide and hope the aliens ignore us, or we can reveal ourselves and take control of our own destiny. The debate was intense. Some wanted to remain hidden and let the aliens fight their war without human involvement. Others believed this was humanity's chance to announce themselves to the galaxy as equals, not as primitive children waiting for permission to join the adult conversation. Admiral Taemin's voice came through the secure communication link. The Defiance is not completely finished, but she can fight. If we're going to do this, we need to decide now. Those alien fleets will reach fighting range in 3 days. President Dong-hyun looked around the room at the faces of Earth's secret government. These were people who had built weapons, studied alien technology, and trained soldiers for this exact situation. "We will not hide while others fight in our own solar system," he said firmly. "Launch the Defiance. It's time for the galaxy to meet humanity." High above Earth, Captain Hyunwoo continued his lonely watch, completely unaware that the quiet little planet below him was about to teach the universe a very dangerous lesson about the wisdom of underestimating Earth's children.